All right, we're started. We have a new camera angle this evening, so welcome to AR101 Class number 4 from the opposite side of the room as the other three. I'm Emily. This is Earl. We've got our live audience here at Alpine Shop Kirkwood. And Tess is starting to take her nap, so we're going to talk tonight about nutrition and race day strategy, just some pointers. Both about what to eat, how to pack, how to get ready for the race, and then kind of what to do the night before, what to do during the morning of the race, the day of, afterwards, just to kind of help visualize the day. So we had a couple questions before class. I'm going to see if I can remember them, but I just want to put them out there for fair warning. We had one question about biking. How technical is the biking going to be in the 2019 Castlewood Adventure Race? So my answer to that was it's about half and half. The course currently, as we've planned it, it's about half and half road and double track, and then half and half the other half single track. And the single track, some of it's pretty beginner friendly. We try to use mostly beginner friendly trails just because we want people to have a good experience. For example, my first Castlewood race, I had just bought a mountain bike maybe a couple months prior, so I was pretty nervous. So we just want to make sure everyone has we don't scare you. So it'll be some beginner friendly single track, some medium difficulty, and then there'll be a couple parts where we can see a lot of people will walk their bikes. But fortunately, they're pretty short, and you can kind of see it coming. You're not gonna come around a corner and freak out because it's so technical and dangerous. You'll see it coming, or a couple spots like that. So just get off your bike, walk it through the tough stuff, and then get back on and keep riding. That's kind of how races go. So that was one question. Was there another one? That was it? Oh, okay, yeah. Well, what happens at Alpine Shop Kirkwood stays at Alpine Shop Kirkwood when we're off camera. We've got kind of a new iPad set up tonight too, so I wish I could share with you this napping golden retriever in front of us. She's just passed out already, so. Okay, let me take my spot over here. No, you keep your side.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, so I'm going to pass around our amazing attendance sheet. There's the Osprey coupons, and then I'll be emailing this out to everybody in the race later this week. So bring some. You can grab some hard copies for your teammates, or if you want to just make them wait for the email.
Yeah, it's true.
That too. Okay, so we're talking about nutrition. Let's talk about nutrition for adventure racing. There's a couple different strategies, and I'll just share my personal strategy, and then Earl will share what he does, and they're kind of different, so hopefully you can find one that's right for you. So what I do, if I haven't shared it already, I'll share it with you now. I come from an engineering background, civil engineering, construction, so spreadsheets are my friend. I don't think in Microsoft Word, I think in Microsoft Excel. That's how I do things. So when I kind of put together some race food, I start with how many hours do I think are we going to be out there? So let's use 8 for this particular race. Then I think about, okay, how many calories per hour do I think I can reasonably take in? For me, that's usually about 200. And then I don't anymore, but I used to break that, so you have 8 hours times 200 calories, okay, 1,600 calories. I used to break that down into, all right, I want half of this to come from carbohydrates, and half of this to come, or a quarter from fat, and a quarter from protein, and have a nice balanced diet for my race food. I don't do that anymore, but it is a good experiment. If you have some extra time and just want to play with spreadsheets, just kind of figure out what your calorie intake would look like. So get those numbers kind of sorted out, and then I start looking at packages. So let's see, I've got this packet of goo. This one has 100 calories, no fat, and no protein. So 100 calories of carbohydrates, like pure and simple right here. So I'd like type that in my spreadsheet, and I'd go to the next thing that I'm bringing, like, oh, here's this goo waffle. This one has 150 calories, 1 gram of protein, 6 grams of fat. So I'd like type that in and do a little, there's 9 calories per gram of fat, or whatever it is, you can figure that out. So anyway, I'd like go through all of my race food until, like, trade things out until I had the proper distribution of number of calories total, fat, protein, carbohydrate. So did it a couple times, and then that's a lot of work, so I don't do that anymore. But I do still, like, calculate 8 hours, 1,600 calories, and then I'm gonna get 200 from my water bottles. I'll have like some sports drink mix in there. I'll have a couple of turkey sandwiches, so like that's 250 calories each. A couple of candy bars, those are usually 200 calories, and like kind of write down my stuff just to make sure it all totals up to 1,600 is what I would do. Earl, on the other hand,
where your pockets would go. The first thing she talked about would just stress me out.
and for me, it calms me down. So like.
So basically, is what I'll use is, for an 8-hour race, I'd probably grab 8 to 10 pieces. Anything from a couple little candy bars to a sandwich. Get some sweets, some salts, and a few items on my bike, a few items in my pack, pouches. For the longer, what we're talking about right now is just kind of an 8-hour race. So it's like, you just need to have enough to keep you going. But even if it's cold, you're going to want to make sure that you have some electrolytes, because you're going to be sweating more than what you think you are. And if you're overdressed, which most people will be, because you're like cold, standing around, you're like, okay, and then all of a sudden we say, giddy up, go, and then you're in the heat of the moment, and you're sweating, and you're not going to take time to, you should at least take time to open a jacket up, or take a hat off, so that you're not completely over sweating in the early stage, because it's going to be really easy for you to accidentally do that. So later in the race, it's going to be very important that you have some sort of electrolyte drink, or some salt tablets, or some E-caps, some sort of replacement. That's going to be even when it's cold, you can very easily dehydrate pretty fast. And when it's cold, you're not thinking you're thirsty, so you're not going to drink as much. So, and it might be warmer than what we think. We just never know what we're going to have in December. So
last year it was 60 degrees.
Yeah.
Who knew? In other years it's been snowing.
So yeah, and so like we have the energy chews that have some electrolytes in them. I like the scratch ones because they're not sugary. It's basically a non-sugary gummy that has electrolytes. And then just some of the powders, whether you like Hammer, Scratch, Gatorade, there's a million different ones out there. Whatever works for you is the best one to use. Some of the stuff can make your stomach kind of wanky, so you just gotta be careful. Or if you're like, oh, I'm gonna do a goo, and then I'm gonna do a shot block, and then something else sugary, that really makes your stomach wanky. So it's like finding that balance. Trust me, I've done all this. But if you're cramping and feeling really like, these are probably take a goo or two and some E-caps, and it really helps bring you back probably as fast as anything I've tried. You just got to have the stomach ready to do it, because these do go out just as fast as they come in if you're not careful.
Either end.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the other end, but they do. I can take them back out.
I think that was the first race that we did together. Was a 24-hour race.
Might as well just throw it all right out there.
Well, I had my own problems too. Like the rule of like don't try new gear in a race. Like I tried new gear in a race and it was a disaster. It was a bike toe that I had built myself, and I was so proud of it. And then it broke, and it like just kind of came into pieces. But then Earl, in our first race together, like he was throwing up, and like it was hot. It was in Illinois in August, so
Oh
it's just
yeah,
like,
so there's a race that they have. This probably happened every time I've done these races. There's a race in Southern Illinois that they have in August, and Monster has been their sponsor. So it's like that is the only cold drink that was available. And cold Monster, when you're like miserable, is amazing. But a little bit goes a long way, and a lot goes a real long way. So it's just too much. It was just too much Big Cat. Live and learn.
if you have to throw up, you have to throw up.
But the thing is if you can get that stuff out, you feel so much better. If you're gonna throw up, just let it go. Don't like try to.
Yes,
I'm sure,
sorry.
I'm sure.
That's right on cue when you're pretty stinky.
Yeah, it's
Just
very
like-
sneaky.
Just go like this. Tess, look at her.
Is that not okay?
Oh,
Yeah,
everybody
that's
at home
perfect.
is missing out on
Right,
some great
yeah.
entertainment here. So,
Sorry.
but yeah, so it's just one of those things that. No, why don't you come over here and just sit?
Chill.
Okay, down.
Okay, something else to kind of think about when you're putting your food together is trekking food versus biking and paddling food. When you're trekking, as long as you're not the navigator, you have both hands available to unwrap, feed yourself little individual chews, blocks, M&Ms, whatever it is. You have that time to like deal with little items. But when you're biking or paddling, your hands are busy steering your bike or paddling your canoe. So you want to think about something that's like you can take a huge bite of, and then you're good for a while. So things like these super high calorie bars. This one's 360. It's a pro bar. I like these when we're paddling just because it's like you can shove half of it in your mouth, and like that's almost good for 45 minutes to an hour. Or a sandwich. It's like things that you can take big bites of, and then go back to biking or paddling. So you want to save these things that are full of little items for trekking, just so it's logistically easier. So we're gonna, and then just kind of one other tip is just to keep your food accessible. So like Earl talked about, in your hip pouches of your pack. If you have shoulder pouches, keep it in there. When you're biking, in a little bento box right by your handlebars is great. If you're paddling, kind of maybe shove some stuff in your tights or shorts, or just have some food available if your pack's going to be under your seat or behind you, just so that you don't have to halt. I need a snack. I got to turn around in the boat and like scramble and pick up a bunch of stuff. Like just make sure you throw a bar out and keep it nearby you when you start. So some of our favorite snacks, obviously like these are all like sport food items. We talked about the chews. There's these amazing bars. There's amazing sports drink powders, goos, waffles, like all of this stuff. And it's definitely worthwhile to bring some, but kind of like we were talking about before, you want to have a good variety. And we found that the easiest way to get that good variety is also to just have some regular food. So probably my favorite race food is a turkey sandwich. So turkey, cheese, and then Hawaiian bread. So it's like super buttery and sweet and like easy to chew. And then no mayo or mustard or anything like that. Just bread, turkey, cheese, bread. You can smash them down really good, and they fit in a snack size Ziploc bag.
They come in a little 6-pack. It's the orangish, reddish, and there's like mini subs that, and you can few pieces of turkey, half a slice of cheese, smash it, put it in a snack size Ziploc, and
Good.
you could buy the good Ziplocs, not the one.
The 99-cent
99
ones,
cent.
like.
You want the good ones because they actually have a little more lip to the zip, so you can actually use your fingers to get it. Especially when it's colder, worst thing is to have this most amazing sandwich and you can't open the bag because you work so hard to close it and keep it tight, and then your fingers aren't working to open it up. So all lessons learned the hard way.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
So yeah, other things are you can do the same turkey and cheese on a tortilla wrap. That's also travels really good. Peanut butter and jelly.
honey.
Peanut butter, honey, like any sort of just kind of normal food. Easy to eat, nice good flavor profile, not too sweet. So those are kind of like our homemade type items. But we also like the little, this is actually perfect timing for this class and for the race because Halloween is on Thursday and all of the snack, like fun size candy is going to go on sale Friday. And those things are really great race food. Like the little snack size Snickers, peanut butter or otherwise. There's just peanut butter cups, although those kind of are fussy to open. Paydays, Earl like will always have a
Take
million
fives,
paydays.
you know, all those little things. They're high calorie, easy to open, easy to carry. So anybody that's trick or treating at our house on Thursday, you'll kind of get a take at what our race.
Right.
That's how we trick or treated shopping this weekend. Like, all right, whatever's left over,
We're gonna use for race
it's gonna be our
food.
good race food. So.
I like just like, I mean, these are sports gummies, but I just like regular gummies. So that's like another option. Oreos, the little 6-pack cookie packets. Nutter Butters are really yummy. If your mom likes to make you cookies, ask for a batch of cookies before the race.
Emily's mom will send us a
Or
shoebox
my
full
mom
of
might, if you
cookies
want to like
lunch.
track her down. She's pretty good about sending some. And we've got the sports waffles, but we've also found sometimes in the grocery store like pre-packaged like Belgian waffles. Those are really yummy because they're really high calorie. They're sweet, but they're not overpowering. They're just like kind of just pleasant to eat.
It's just like a local house brand.
It's Deerbirds. Yeah.
They have just a straight and like just a plain and then like a vanilla one. They're like probably like that thick like this, but I don't know, it's like 500 calories or something like that. But pretty tasty.
Yeah. So another things we've kind of had some success with is in the snack aisle, like snack pack pickles, snack pack olives. Those are really good for like salty, just like crackers are great, but you want to test them for like durability. Otherwise, you're just going to open up a Ziploc full of powder.
Or the dry mouthness. We used to race with the Ridge crackers and peanut butter and that kind of stuff. And they're like, oh, that was so good. And then like for longer races when you're kind of dehydrated, your mouth is dry, you're like, I can't eat these because you couldn't get that down. That's one thing about the Hawaiian bread. It's like so watery and moist. Yeah. But yeah, and then like croutons, Pringles, you know, Chex Mix, or the Trail Mix, anything that we've used cold pizza for pizza.
Yep. Chicken tenders.
Chicken
Just
tenders.
really good for a 24-hour race. You go the day before. There's so many preservatives and like salt in those things that you just buy it and let it go down to room temperature and then put them in bags when they're at room temperature, and then you have chicken tenders. They last for 3 days, pretty much.
Yeah, I know we're using milk for 48 hours. Some people use McDonald's hamburgers. And we're good for 24 solid hours.
You've seen the studies where it's like, this is a McDonald's hamburger after 30 days. Like, what's the same? Yeah.
Right. So, so I mean, there's a lot of different options. So we could go on and on about that. One other thing I want to make note of though is, if it's cold, some of the stuff that's in packs and pouches is gonna get hard. So you got to be careful about that. One of my first cold races I did, I carried the first generation of power bars. And it was just like a heat bar, you know what they were? They were just, when those are frozen, it was like chipping a block of ice. So you have to like break it. It would break, and then you just kind of have to hold it in your cheek until you could actually chew it. they've improved a lot of these things since then, but just keep in mind that some of this stuff could potentially freeze. Water in your hydration bladder, in the actual bladder itself, it should be okay, but actual hose could freeze. They make different things that insulating devices. They do that, but the biggest thing is if you just once you take a drink, you need to remember, but just blow the water back, and then it won't be sitting in the bivalve valve or in the hose. If it does actually happen to freeze on you, normally what I'll do is I'll just take it and put it inside and get it close to skin, and then it should warm up. It shouldn't be like crazy cold to where it will totally freeze up, but that can potentially happen.
What else? Oh, just also one more note about bladders. We recommend, like, you can do whatever you want, but we recommend not putting any sports drink mix in your bladder. It just is like, if you forget to clean it until the next day, it usually gets a little gross. And then it's just, even if after you clean it, sometimes it's kind of gums up and...
You always have that, you always have kind of aftertaste to it. The other thing is that if your stomach goes funny and all you want is water, you're kind of committed to what's in your bladder, or you can borrow water from your teammate. But we just kind of keep the hydration mixes to the bottles, water in the bladder. And if you want to carry a bottle with you, mix you can. But for this race, I would just go all hydration mix on my bike. Just make sure you drink it up when you're on the bike, and then you should be okay on the other parts. There's some people that like the mix, and there'll be some people that do races, all they do is on mix, so that's their choice too.
Okay, so that's pretty much food and hydration. A couple other things that we've kind of talked about here and there, but if you have any meds that you need to bring, like both prescription medications for your own selves, but we also like to bring Tums. We like to bring some E-caps or other salt or electrolyte tablets. For longer races, we'll bring caffeine, either just no dose or Excedrin, which has anti-inflammatory plus caffeine, or if you have any ibuprofen, like just have those things available. Maybe not with, you could have like I think we have 2 doses or something in the first aid kit. You might just want to carry some loose in a convenient pocket in case you need them during the race.
I just normally carry a small Ziploc bag, and it's going to have a combination of, I always carry Excedrin because it gives you caffeine and kind of an ibuprofen combo, and then just standard Motrin, and then I'll have another bag with like E-cap type things. So 2 little bags, and I just keep them right here so that it's accessible for me to share with all the teammates. So I just carry enough extra so we don't have to, because all of a sudden you need it, and it's buried in the med kit at the bottom of somebody's pack. You just watch yourself another 5 minutes where these meds are light, they don't take much, and I don't know of a race when I haven't opened up those bags for myself or somebody else. So, yes.
Speaking of med kits, which one do you like best? There's a lot of different ones out there. There's requirements. Oh, right here.
I think we wrote it on here.
Yeah, you did. I just
There
didn't
were
know if there
options.
was like a brand or whatever.
They're out?
No, I said there were options
Oh,
on the
okay.
list.
I was going to say, we have time to fix that.
I know some are have more stuff in them than the other ones. but
Yeah,
I didn't know
so,
if there was like a brand or a type that you guys like the best.
yeah, we list Adventure Medical Kits. They have, like, the super micro version all the way up to, like, group camping version. But any of the 0.5, 0.7, or 0.9 is acceptable for our race. For this, like, I would probably tend towards the lighter side, like a Adventure Medical Kit's 0.5, just because there's not. This is like probably, I don't know, for insurance purposes, probably not legal to say, but like, just if I was a racer, I'm like, okay, it's a winter race. I'm gonna be mostly covered up like pants and long sleeves, so I'm probably not going to get a whole lot of like cuts or anything. So you don't need to have a ton of band-aids. And it's a short race, so I don't really expect that I'm going to need like slings or other things to like get someone out of backcountry to a TA. So you can go pretty light, but I think we just kind of have some basic items listed. So either if you want to buy a ready-made kit, AMK 0.5, 0.7, or 0.9, or if you have like a well-stocked first aid cabinet at home you can just pull from. It's like a couple gauze pads, some waterproof tape, antibacterial ointment, a bandage, some band-aids, some NSAIDs, and a pair of gloves. So pretty minimal.
So I don't see the 0.5.
Yeah.
So this would be the point. This is the Adventure Metal Kit's 0.3. You're gonna need something a little more substance than this. But the nice thing about these is they come kind of in their own prepackaged bag. So it's just easy and accessible, and it's a waterproof bag. So you're pretty much gonna have
Yeah, 0.5 or above.
so.
Okay, so like we've talked about all of these food items. They either come with their own wrappers or they come with a Ziploc bag that you packed. It's pretty obvious that we're a leave no trace race, so any wrappers that you open out there on the course, you need to make sure to tuck away somewhere in your pack or give them to your teammates to tuck away. Littering is an offense that I think it can get you disqualified. To check our own race rules there, but it's like, I mean, it's pretty obvious, like, just don't leave your trash on the course.
Right.
We go through the next day and we pick everything up for all the controls, so we can tell, like, how messy our racers are. And so far we've like, maybe picked up a wrapper or two that, I mean, we know accidents happen, that they just, like, fly away, but if you're out there just eating and dumping, like, we don't want you around.
That's not cool. And if you're racing and you happen to see something, just if it looks like it's fresh from our race, just please bend down and pick it up. We all miss that pouch every once in a while, or it falls out. I mean, or you put your garbage in your zipper pocket, you forget to zip it back up, and a couple pieces fall out. I mean, it happens. It's not intentional, but we just need to make sure we clean up after ourselves. We're gonna have 300 people out in the parks, and we want it to look like weren't even there on Sunday, so that's our goal. And we want to be able to keep putting on this race, so with leaving no trace, that just makes it easier for us to continue to do it the next year. So, and it's been very successful. It's just one of those things that we need to just kind of throw out there. So.
Okay, questions about race food? Good? Looking forward to a day full of eating? Awesome. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about strategy. We'll talk just kind of how Friday shakes out and then what to do on race day. So Friday we're going to have packet pickup here, right, actually through this little hallway and in the conference room. So we'll have it all set up. Packet pickup opens at 4 o'clock. Usually everyone comes through here by about 7, but we are open until 8, and then the store is open till 9, just in case there's any like emergencies. But just the earlier that you can show up to pick up your packet, that's great. You only need one person per team, but it just, if there's like things that people need to buy, like you need to obviously like come here and get them. I'll have to see what our coupon situation is. It kind of changes every year, and since we're doing the Osprey coupon for a much longer time before the race, sometimes we'll do like an in-store anything goes coupon as well. So it's kind of fun. So that packet will have all of your maps in it that you're going to get before the race, your clue sheet, which has the checkpoints and the coordinates on it. It'll have your race swag item or items, and then any like sponsor giveaway, just fun stuff in there. So it's kind of what your packet is. So then once you get it, then you have all that time afterwards to start plotting your maps. So it's like if you can get here at 4, that's awesome. You just have a couple more hours than everyone else to start strategizing. So our kind of recommendation is that you'll get, like you could receive multiple maps. Like you could get a big one like this, like an 18 by 24, and then you could get like another 11 by 17. You know, it could get a couple of them, and they might overlap a little bit. But what we would recommend is if you plot all of the checkpoints that you can on your biggest map that you have, and then go ahead and see if you can, if any of the checkpoints are on the small map, plot them on both maps. So every checkpoint that you have should be plotted on every map that's applicable. And we'll kind of tell you in one of the columns on the clue sheet, this checkpoint is shown on maps 1 and 2. So just so that you have all those resources, so you're not out there during the race like, you know, you're on this big map, you're like, man, I really wish I had this detailed, larger map to see with, but I didn't plot it the night before because I was tired. Like, now you're just kind of carrying around a useless piece of paper. So just try to get as clear a picture as you can by plotting everything on the big stuff plus the small. And then kind of take in like the overall flow of the course. So the clue sheet will say section 1, it's going to be a paddle. We have to get checkpoints 1 through 10 in order. So you have to go 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, 5, all the way to 10. And then section 2, it's a bike ride. You have to get all of these in order. So then you have to get 11 first, then 12, then 13, then 14. And then maybe the last section, section 3, it's on foot. You can get these on any order. So you could go 27 and then 22 and like skip around however the course best suits that order. So just kind of pay attention to what discipline you're doing, and then if you have to go in order or not. Usually the paddle is in order because it would just make no sense to do out of order on a river. And if there's a certain way that we want you to bike, say to route either around busy roads or around sections of the course that you'll visit later, we'll tell you to go in order. So it's just kind of to help route all 300 people just the way that the kind of course will accommodate. But then usually our trekking sections are either, you know, we usually try to make those as much as we can any order that you want to go, because that helps good navigators pick really efficient route choices. So it just rewards that planning and that skill to look at a map and think, oh, well, if I go like 6, 4, 3, 2, 8, that's going to work out the best. So most of our trekking points are in any order, just to kind of help reward that skill. So yeah, then you'll kind of have a flow of like what's going to happen. Kind of like we were talking about, oh, this is another thing we were talking about before we went live, is, I don't know if I have them anymore, but there's, you know, there could be bonus maps out there that maybe you know about, but maybe you might know about it before the race. Like at checkpoint 32, there's going to be a bonus map. Or you might not know. You might show up at 32 and like, surprise, here we go, like you have this other stuff to do. So just kind of try to understand how the flow is going to go for the day. And then if you want to write anything else on the map that you think is going to be helpful, so like road names, if you want to measure, like on a biking section, you're going to go 1 mile and then turn right and then go another 3/4 of a mile and turn left, or like anything like that that you want to write down, it's totally fine. A lot of teams will highlight like the roads that they want to take or the trails that they want to take. That just kind of helps you on the day of visualize, you know, kind of keep your place on the map. So yeah, like anything that you want to write on your maps is fair game. We do have rules against bringing outside maps. So we don't want people to be like printing off satellite images from Google Maps the night before and then bringing it with them on the race. Like, it's kind of unfair for anyone who's like maybe coming in from out of town and they don't have a printer where they're staying. Like, it's just not fair. And it's just a lot of extra work. So like, don't put yourself through that. And yeah, we're just trying to keep everyone in this level playing field as possible. So you use the maps that you have. If you want to look at Google Images or Google Maps the night before and like write down, oh, there's a big gas station here on this corner. That's my cue for turning left. Or, I mean, anything that you want to transcribe on your race map, totally fine. Because you're then taking the risk of, I might be writing it right, I might be wrong. Like, I don't know, but it's on you now. But no printing of outside maps or anything like that. And we try really hard to make sure that our race maps are as accurate as we can possibly create them. So, kind of how maps go. Have a good dinner. Oh yes.
Will we all end at the same spot? And I ask in that, like, recognizing you could take up to 8 hours, you could take 6 hours, 4 hours, but
Uh-huh.
we have little kiddos who would love to, like, be somehow
Yes.
around. Like, is there a spot that they can
Yes.
kind of go? I mean,
So-
supervise, like, your own.
Yeah.
So
Just show up.
We're gonna drop them
Oh,
off.
you don't
Yeah.
have to.
One morning on the way.
So for that, is what we would encourage is to have them all come, if they're gonna be for the day,
No, just.
okay.
In the afternoon.
In the
Yeah.
afternoon,
Okay.
okay. Because if you wanted to do during the day, we could kind of reveal some stuff maybe Friday night or Saturday morning if there's places, there's gonna be a couple places where family members could go spectate. If you wanted to kind of go down that road. But yes, we're all gonna finish at a designated location and it'll be very family friendly. And so, yes, we encourage them to come out and, if you,
Bring some cowbells, signs,
Right.
like, yeah. Great. Oh, yeah, we do have post-race meals, like we do a baked potato bar every year. So, like we definitely have a couple extra, but if you're bringing like 6 people and you want to have them all have a baked potato, just let me know.
yeah, if you want additional meals, just let us know and that way we can kind of prep accordingly and work that kind of.
Yeah, and no, and that's not needed at all, truly.
But-
They're just
but
like,
we
with
would
like
love
a
to have- we-
marathon, you
we-
can be there. And
Right, but we would
so-
love to have families come out and especially hang out at the finish line. It'll be a super fun venue and the more people we have cheering everybody in, it's just
Yeah,
super
fun.
nice. And we've been, the weather that we've had, pretty much all 4
It's gonna be
years
bad. It's
that
gonna be
we,
bad this year.
it's been really nice, so it's been just kind of nice for people to hang outside and enjoy a nice Saturday afternoon in December. But we don't know until what it's going to be like, but we still encourage people to come and hang out.
Great.
Farmer's Almanac thinks it's going to be a cold winter.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, last year it was 60 degrees, so this year it's gonna be snowing. It's just how it works.
I'm still optimistic. It'll be the following weekend that's going to fall.
Yeah.
For Pure Marquette.
Great. Yeah. Exactly.
'Cause that's been pretty nice too. That's always been our last defending team that goes around the seasons.
A couple other things that I didn't mention. Race morning, make sure to have a good breakfast. And it's going to be an early race morning. We have a bike drop this year. So that means like you're going to have to go someplace, drop your bikes off, and then go to the starting line and get ready. So it's like there's an extra like 30 minutes of time, and our race starts at 8. So with a pre-race meeting at 7:30. So it's like you probably want to get to, working backwards, you probably want to get to the starting line about 7 or maybe even a little earlier. So that means you're going to want to be dropping your bike off like in the 6:15, 6:45.
6 to 6:30.
Yeah.
Because you're always running a little bit behind, and it's a team of 2 or a team of 4. It's not just yourself. So coordinating all that, and then if you have to meet, and then once you get there, You're gonna get all bikes together, and then if you're gonna drop shoes, you're gonna drop helmets. You know, kind of getting all that organized.
It's gonna be dark.
It's gonna be dark. There's gonna be a lot of other people there trying to do the same thing. Might get congested. You know, again, we've got 300 bikes that all need to fit somewhere. So that's up to 150 vehicles. Hopefully not that many, but I mean 100 cars within a half-hour time frame in some random spot that's not a 4-lane road can get complicated. Everybody's friendly, fortunately, so it does take some time, and then somebody will forget to put air in their tires, so then you gotta borrow a pump, put air in the tires, those kind of things that we should have done earlier in the week, but we forget. It's just human nature. So just always allow a little extra time. A couple other things is, well, I'm sorry, we're back to track Friday night. Whoever's driving might want to make sure that there's almost a full tank of gas in the vehicle, because next thing you know, you're going to find out you're getting in the car and you're like, oh, we got to go all the way out there, and the car's not empty. Well, that's great, because then then we're going to stop and get gas, and then we're going to go and get coffee, and then we're going to go to the bathroom, and then we're trying to get everybody in the car. So, just little things like that. So, full tank of gas. The other thing is get up and allow yourself time to either make some breakfast the night before, or grab some eyes like bagel, peanut butter, and banana. It's like have one of those maybe while you're driving out there, and then maybe have a little extra before the race starts, a half hour or something, so that you have like a breakfast and then like a breakfast snack before the race starts. Because you're going to be up at 5, let's just say you're up at 5, race doesn't start until 8, so there's a 3-hour period there to eat and drink and get hydrated, so that you're not starting the race on empty and then having to play catch up. I mean, if you have a good breakfast, you might not need anything for a couple, 2-3 hours, and it should be good. So make sure you got your favorite coffee or your favorite caffeine fix ready to go.
Check the hours of your coffee shop that you like to go to, that they're open that early. I have one close to my house that opens at 5, so that's like always a good sign.
So yeah, just those little logistics things you normally don't think of are just kind of like, make sure we have breakfast, snacks, car's good to go, figure out who's driving, who's got bike racks, who doesn't, some people that have 4 bikes in a car without a bike rack, so they have to assemble bikes a little bit at you see it all. So it's just talk it over Friday night, so that you're or before Friday night, so you just kind of figure out who's driving, what we're going to do, how we're going to get there, those kind of things.
Okay, so here's your day on Saturday. You've woken up at whatever time you've got to wake up. You've made it to the bike drop at 6 o'clock, right on time. Things are perfect. Your coffee's still hot. You drop your bikes off. You make it to the starting line or the start location at a little bit before 7. You have time to unload your car, get your pack ready to go, figuring out what you're going to wear for the race. Other things to do before the race starts, if you're going to use a GPS unit, like this amazing cool watch or anything like a bike computer that has GPS on it, we'll have a check-in station at the starting line. So you can come find us at the check-in. We'll have these, they're like solid white little plastic bags. You basically turn on your GPS and tell it to start, and then drop it in the bag, and then we seal it up. Just keeping honest people honest. There's really not a ton of advantage from using a GPS on a short race like this. Like the good navigators are going to beat the GPS users anyway. But that's just how adventure racing is there's no GPS, so we don't want to get anyone in the habit of using it. So check in your GPS, kind of decide on your layers. We'll have a pre-race meeting at 7:30. So it's really not too exciting, other than I get to use a microphone and megaphone. We sing the national anthem. If there's any last minute, there's high water on the river, so checkpoints 3 and 4 have been deleted, like, you know, stuff like that we talk about. And then just ask everyone to have a safe race. The biggest thing that I remind people about on Saturday morning is like the prize, the most valuable prize that we're racing for is a $100 gift card to Alpine Shop. So just keep that in mind when you're out there. Like, it's great to be competitive and we want people to be competitive, but it's not like you're racing for $10,000 or a salary or like, you know, sponsorship or anything like that. So make good decisions. That's all we ask. So then we'll start at 8. It's usually pretty like chaotic at the start. You know, everyone's really excited. It's, you know, the race is finally here. We're ready to go. And you might want to have a strategy for keeping your team together in the first 20 minutes or so. Definitely make a mental note of what color pack your teammates have, what color shirt they're wearing, what color hat they're wearing if it's cold, just so that when things explode, then you at least have something to look for. And then kind of have a plan, like, okay, we're going to go left first, we're going to go right first, we're going to go straight, and then after you start, make sure to keep talking and making sure your teammates are all with you.
I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Let's see if there's some questions on this one.
I will monitor.
So, we're going to have 300 people at the starting line, and when we say go, everybody is going to go. So it's kind of like, it's very important to keep a visual, or at least have one person designated to have eyes on everybody. Because I've seen it happen where basically you disqualify your whole team in the first leg of the race because somebody took off. And that person might have the max. They're gone. And you're like, we've watched it happen here, we've watched it happen at big races. So
We've had nightmares about it.
we've had nightmares about it, and it's, you know, so just be vigilant. Have, you know, call it. Don't be afraid to call out names. Say, John, got you, you know, whatever. But just have somebody or some team strategy to have a visual on everybody at all times. You know, once the race breaks out, it's going to be a lot easier to manage. But when we have 300 people, and it says, when we say go, it's going to be kind of chaotic. So you're not going to win the race in the first 10 minutes, but you can definitely lose and not finish in the first 10 minutes. So it's just one of those things that it's like, just keep eyes on everybody, just stay smart, and keep it together. And it really doesn't do any good to have somebody just sprint off.
Show off.
It might look
That's what it
impressive,
is.
but everybody else like,
Great.
so just kind of making do that. All right.
Other kind of helpful hints for the first beginning of the race, well, really for the whole race, is don't follow other teams. It's really obvious when someone's following another team, and usually the team that's being followed is going to try to pull some trickery to confuse that following team. So just heads up, like, do your own navigation. It's fine to like kind of work off each other, and like, I mean, we did the O-meet at Castlewood on Friday night, and it was dark, and like we were kind of using other people's headlamps. You know, okay, they're over there. It doesn't look like they've got the checkpoint. We're over here. Like, we keep one eyeball on the other team to see if they left, which means they got the checkpoint. You know, so it's fine to use like that. But if you're just straight up following another team, classic thing, and like we've done it, is like, oh, I have to pee. Oh, you do too? So then we just stop for a pee break, and then the following team is like, I guess we have to tie our shoes right now, or, you know, like they have some excuse, so then it's just very obvious. Because the team who would not be following, they just keep on going by. So just pay attention to your map, stay found, don't follow other teams, it's not that fun. And then we want you guys to kind of expect things to go wrong, and not in a pessimistic, like, fear way, but just to acknowledge, like, things are going to go wrong. They always do in a race, and it's how you kind of bounce back from that difficulty that separates, you know, the great teams from the good teams from the teams who are never going to do adventure racing again because it was terrible. So just kind of be expecting things to not quite go perfectly to plan. And when they don't, just communicate about it and regroup and off you go. So if you end up getting lost, I mean, like,
Anything that could potentially go wrong might go wrong. Flat tire, broken chain, bike that doesn't shift. It happens. But it's like, how do we recover from that is what makes you finish. And how do we work together as a team to fix what's broke or make it bearable to keep moving forward. And it's just having that positive attitude, because even the fastest and the best teams out there, they think they have a perfect race, but then you talk to them afterwards and you're like, oh my God, they had a worse race than we did. They're just recovered from stuff faster, you know. It's like,
and it's such an easy, like, mental trap to get into if things aren't going well. If, like, maybe you're on foot and you're in these, like, huge briar patch and, like, your rate of travel is really slow. It's so easy to think in your mind, like, oh, those winning teams, they found a paved path through the woods and they just trotted right along to every single checkpoint perfectly. It's like, it's not true. Like, they have to fight the briars just the same as every other team does. So just get that out of your mind of other teams are having perfect races and we're not. Like, every team is having some margin of difficulty and imperfection.
and you treat a bicycle flat tire like a NASCAR pit stop. It's like, you do, and it's like, oh man, this just happened, but you pull over, somebody starts taking the rear tire out or the front tire out, gets a tire lever, starts that out, another person's already getting the tube prep, getting the CO2 ready to go, have that loaded, and you just have two hands on everything, and then it's like that tire's ready to go. Somebody's putting the tire back in, people are starting to button stuff back up, and you're gone. And I mean, you can seriously change. If it's not a terrible flat tire, I mean, it's just a few minutes and you're back going. And some teams take 3 to 5 minutes just figuring out what are we going to do about this? Or how are we going to do this? And it's just like, nope, you just take it and go. Just figure out. Blisters, the same thing. It's like taping feet. Yeah, it's miserable, and, you know, or your butt hurts. Well, my butt hurts, her butt probably hurts, you know. I'm wet and cold, so is everybody else. But it's like, what do we do to just keep moving? Do we need to eat more? Do we need to drink more? You know, just
Find a hotel somewhere and, like, call it quits and call the race directors that we're done and go to the jacuzzi. Like, those are options too.
Save that for after you finish.
That's actually
You'll enjoy the jacuzzi and the beer that much better after you finish versus saying, you know, we bagged this at noon and
right.
But you guys can finish.
Yep.
You know, even if you don't get all the points, get to the finish line on your own power and just have that sense of satisfaction. You know what, we did this, we did 80% of it. All right? And what do we need to work on to come back next year and do 100%? You know, or if it's not for you, it's not for you. That's fine too. But at least we have 300 people that are going to get out there and experience this for their 150th time or their first time. You know, and it's just a fun group of people. And you know, if you get into the finish at 5 minutes before the finish line and you got most of the points or whatever, get to know the people that kind of finish a little bit earlier. They're super nice people. They want to help grow the sport just as much as anybody else and learn the tips and tricks from them. Ask them questions. Ask us questions after the race. You know, you have our contact information. So, you know, reach out to us for the next, we got a month basically before the race. I'll be here before we know it, but we have access to us for a month. We have 2 training sessions coming up outside, I don't know the dates in November.
9th and the 23rd November.
So we'll have courses set up outside. And come and practice your navigation. If you have any gear questions, bring your gear with you. We can go through that with you. Help you out with anything. We want to help everybody as much as we can without giving away too much information, but it's like we want to grow this. We want everybody to get outside and have a fun time.
And meet your kids at the finish line.
Meet your kids at the finish line.
So that's the end of our inspirational speech. Any questions about race day, logistics, strategy?
Any questions about
On
anything?
the 9th and the 23rd, is that just orienteering, or is that going to be bring your bikes with you, or is it just off foot?
Yes.
Anything, everything.
So basically, what we're going to do is we will set up between us or the St. Louis Orienteering Club. We will set up control points in the woods or along a course, and you can, weather permitting. I mean, we'll definitely be able to do it by foot. But if the trails are in good condition, you can do it by bike or by foot. Or if you want to do if you want to go out on foot and then come back, get your bike and go do it. If you want to take your bike out, do some on foot, some on bike. We're going to design it so that you can do both foot and bike.
So it's just a nice day to kind of practice off the clock. We had a lot of good, like people kind of just made it their training, whatever time they had in that 10 to 2 window, like maybe they only had 10 to noon that day, they would bring their bike and do an hour on foot, an hour on their bike, and then they were done. Or if you had the whole time, you might want to do an hour and a half on foot, and then take a little break, and then do an hour and a half on bike, or, whatever you want to spend that time. But we hang out at base camp for that 10 to 2 time, and then the St. Louis Orienteering Club members are available to actually go out like with people in the woods and kind of help coach navigation. And we can coach it too from TA, but we just don't want to like abandon anyone.
We
who's
need to
coming
stay there, but this year is kind of the first time that we'll have the St. Louis Orienteering Club people available to just go out and shadow with you if we have enough. I don't know what our ratio is going to be, but it's like they've offered to just like, you know what, we'll just come and walk, we'll hang out with you, and you can do your thing, and if you have questions, we'll be able to answer questions. They're not going to show you around the course, but that's not going to help you during the race, but it would be, they'll be available to answer questions, and just kind of like, how do they hold their map to keep it oriented? What are they using for benchmarks as far as terrain features, those kind of things. And so it's just kind of very knowledgeable, friendly people that can just help kind of bridge that orienteering gap.
What else? Nothing? Good?
We're excited.
You want to have a graduation ceremony? Okay, so we'll, like we always do, we'll kind of hang out. Any questions? Come on up and chat with us.
Did you answer
Right.
the question?
Oh, that's just people like checking in. So, yeah. So that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.